Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. So today we're going to do a prediction on the 2018 Senate midterm elections as of today, July 28th. So just yesterday there's a report that the GDP in the second quarter of this year is growing at a stunning 4.1%, and in fact we haven't seen any number that surpasses this or matches this in a few years. Actually, we haven't seen since like the second quarter of 2015, and I think this is good news for President Donald Trump and his Republican allies, because he can use this number to corroborate his claim that his pro-growth economic policy and the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act worked, and yes, they worked to restore America's economic prosperity. And he can also weaponized the fact that no Democrat voted for the tax bill in 2017, and I think that would hurt a lot of Democrat incumbents in this elections. And yes, the president can also use the facts that Democrats, a lot of Democrats said they would raise taxes if they captured the Congress, and the president can use this to attack them, that with his low taxes policy, the economy is booming like this, and if they raise taxes, the economy would go awry and maybe sink into a recession, and that would definitely hurt the Democrats and just probably helps Republicans this midterms. And also there's a thing about Judge Brett Kavanaugh confirmation to the Supreme Court. So Brett Kavanaugh is nominated to replace Justice Kennedy, who's retiring. And Kavanaugh is a stalwart conservative, and a lot of conservatives want him to be in the Supreme Court and just by their words interpret laws the way they are, while a lot of liberals fear that with Judge Brett Kavanaugh, another conservative, in the Supreme Court may be politicized and would have the power to do something conservative, like reverse Roe v. Wade, or subvert Obamacare, or do something like that. And this has a tremendous effect on this midterms. So on the Democratic Party side, Democrat voters are spurred to come out and vote for Democrats to represent them and vote against the confirmation of Kavanaugh, and I think that would generate enough enthusiasm among Democratic voters in the Democratic Party, and maybe would help them in some key states, in some states that have Republican incumbents. While on the Republican Party side, this would spur a lot of Republicans to come and vote for this great opportunity to have another Supreme Court who's a conservative. And yes, a lot of Republicans are stimulated to come out and vote for Republican candidates to have their party retain control of the Senate and just get Kavanaugh confirmed. So yes, it has effects on both parties. So now we're gonna start with the prediction, and I'm gonna fill states that are safe for the Democratic Party now. Now I'm going to fill states that are safe for the Republican Party. So yeah, just 5 Republicans in safe elections, and 13 Democrats in safe elections. And now yeah, we can see that the Republican Party has massive advantage over the Democratic Party in terms of seats up for elections, and just I think it would make this an uphill battle for the Democratic Party to take back the control of the Congress. And now we're gonna fill off states that are likely going for the Democratic Party. So yeah, the special election of Minnesota would likely go for the Democratic Party, and the state of Virginia, it's pretty obvious, would go for the Democratic Party, as well as the state of New Mexico. And now the Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, these states are pretty safe, pretty likely going. Yeah, they are probably going for the for the Democratic Party. They have pretty popular Democrat incumbents, and just these Democrats really, I didn't see them losing this November. So yeah, just four victories for the Democratic Party. So 43 seats for the Democratic Party and 47 seats for the Republican Party. So now we're gonna give Republicans seats that are likely for them, and there's only one I see, which is in Texas. Ted Cruz is leading his opponent Beto O'Rourke by, well, the margin differs from polls to polls, but yeah, at the end of the day, Ted Cruz is leading in every poll, and I think he has a good chance of winning re-election. And although Beto O'Rourke outperforms him in fundraising, I think Ted Cruz still has the appeal to Texas conservative identity, more conservative identity, and also can use the border issue that that Beto O'Rourke is not that strong on border. And as you know, the immigration and border issue is an important issue in Texas, and also Ted Cruz is, although he's not quite popular, I think he has more chance of winning this election. So I'm gonna give this seat to him. So 8 seats for the Republican Party now, just 3 seats away from the majority. So we're going to a few states that are safe for the Democratic Party. That are leaning Democrat. So the state of West Virginia, this one I think would land in the Democratic column. Joe Manchin is not that popular, but yeah, he aligns himself with the Trump base. I mean, he's a pretty conservative Democrat, and yes, he's leading by a big margin in election polls over his opponent Patrick Morrisey, and I think he would be able to win this seat this November. And in the state of Nevada, Dean Heller is a pretty unpopular incumbent Republican, and I think the Democratic Party would be able to unseat him, although the strong economic number would help him a bit, but he's so unpopular and he won in 2012 by a small margin, so I think the Democratic Party would be able to unseat him. And yeah, so this puts the Democratic Party at 45 seats. So the Democratic Party would also pick up a seat in the state of Arizona. The Democratic nominee, Kirsten Sinema, is leading every of her presumptive opponent in every poll, whether it's Joe Arpaio or Martha McSally. The Republican Party is losing in this state, and I think the loss of the Republican Party in this state is also affected by the retirement of Jeff Flake, a vocal critic of President Trump, although a Republican. And Sinema is leading every opponent by a considerable margin. So I think this would land in the Democratic column, putting them at 46 seats. And going into the state of Montana, this one I see going for Democrats. They have an incumbent senator here, John Tester, is a quite popular senator, and yes, I think he would be able to hold onto his seat here. Yes, so 47 seats for the Democratic Party, 48 seats for the Republican Party. So now, in the state of North Carolina, I think this one is going Republican. Heidi Heitkamp is not that popular, and Kevin Cramer is just a favorite to win here. And Trump just made a point that Heitkamp didn't vote for the tax bill, and yeah, he said Heidi didn't vote for this bill, and yeah, that has a profound connotation. It means that President Trump is trying to portray Heitkamp as out of touch with ordinary Americans, as unsympathetic with Americans, and that she would want a higher tax rates, and she wouldn't want to cut taxes, and wouldn't want to have the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which which now creates a lot of positive results to pass. So yeah, I think the Republican Party would be able to win in this seat, bring their party at 49 seats. So now the state of Indiana, I think the Republican Party would pick up the seat here. Joe Donnelly, although he's not that unpopular or not popular either, is a weak incumbent. I see Mike Braun is a strong candidate, and yes, Donnelly is an incumbent Democrat, and I think he would be hurt by the fact that he didn't vote for tax cuts. And yes, the economic reports, the GDP report, the 4.1% number would stay for at least 3 months, and yeah, that would end up hurting the Democratic Party unless the economy goes awry before the midterms. But as of today, I see the economy booming, and yeah, a lot of Republicans are claiming that the boom is a result of the tax cuts, and yes, Democrats didn't vote for tax cuts, so I think that's a point they would use to attack every incumbent Democrat in this midterms. So I think Joe Donnelly would lose his seat here, but yeah, so now the Republican Party has 50 seats, and going into the state of Florida, I think Rick Scott would be able to edge out the incumbent Senator Bill Nelson. Rick Scott is the incumbent Florida governor, and yes, he has that state influence, and also he's quite more popular than Bill Nelson is. I mean, his approval rating is slightly more than Nelson's, and also he's a proficient campaigner. He knows how to spend his campaign money or his own money to win elections, and he's popular. So I think Bill Nelson, who's the incumbent senator, would lose to him. And yes, Nelson is a Democratic incumbent, and because of the reason about the tax cuts, I think he would get hurt and would lose. So the Republican Party now gets to that majority number, the 51 seats. So going into the state of Tennessee, I think this one would land in the Republican column, since the Republicans have the upper hand here. Tennessee is a pretty conservative state, although the former governor Phil Bredesen is running on the Democratic Party side and would receive strong support. I still think that Marsha Blackburn is favored to win here. She aligns herself with the popular political views of Tennessee constituents, and also she's aligned herself with President Trump, and President Trump is, yeah, and the Republican base now is gaining popularity, or actually, not well, it's not just like that, but yeah, the Republican Party would be able to portray um, every Democrat in this November as someone who would come into Washington and raise taxes and destroy the economy. So I think, yes, the Republican Party now has something to attack Democrats, and just because of the Judge Brett Kavanaugh confirmation, a lot of conservatives, evangelicals, and both fiscal conservatives and social conservatives would be spurred to come out and vote for the Republican candidate Marsha Blackburn to get into the Senate and confirm Kavanaugh. So, yeah, I think Phil Bredesen would lose here, and the Republican Party would pick up another seat here. And now the last state, Missouri. This one, I think, would land in the Republican column. The incumbent Senator Claire McCaskill is not popular. She's profoundly unpopular. She's profoundly unreelectable, and I think, yes, she's a Democrat incumbent, and because of the tax cuts reason that previously mentioned, I think she would definitely get damaged by that, and also she has a lot of flaws, and a lot of something like cronyism or abuse of. No, it's not that abuse of power, but yes, her husband has a lot of stories that would come and hurt her as an incumbent senator, and yes, the Missouri voted for Trump overwhelmingly in 2016. I think it. Yeah, and Josh Hawley, the Attorney General, the state Attorney General, would be able to make this race highly competitive and would eventually edge out McCaskill in the election this November. So, yes, this would, yeah, and because of the Kavanaugh factor too. So, this is how the final Senate map would look like, and this is how it would look like in 2019. And these seats are seats that are going. Never mind that. So, yeah, this is the seats in 2019, and this is the map as it predicts today, July 28th, 2018. So, yeah, the Republican Party obviously retains their control of the Senate, and the Democratic Party would lose another 2 seats to the Republicans, and this is due to the economic issue and the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh. So, yeah, the Republican Party wins. So, thank you all so much for watching this video, and could you please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and yes, you can check out my other videos as shown in the screen right now, and I'll see you all later.